Welcome to Thoughts and Discourses on Digital Transformation. Dive into a world of insightful conversations and profound ideas. Join us as we explore the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities in the digital age.
Okay, welcome back to another Thoughts and Discourses, and here's another quick 10-minute video. Just introducing what I built. One of the problems I see with building using Claude Code is I end up having multiple Claude Code windows open. It's very hard to actually get Claude Code to spin up additional tasks. It's very single-threaded. Same with Lovable. So really, what I other people have done, and I'm basically building on the shoulders of that giants here, is building a multi-agent development platform. And what that is really, basically it's a web interface where you can actually spin up multiple projects at one time and have different windows. And I'm using Claude Code here, have different windows for these different projects, all in a single interface. And then I'm also leveraging a Kanban board to be able to, organize all of the tasks. This is what I've seen when I'm doing these demos. I'm doing a lot of different tasks. I context switch a lot, and it's just nice to have one place here. And so that's what I've built, and I just want to kind of introduce, I'm calling it SquansQ, it's going to be interesting to see as I've started to use this, how more productive I have. Because just now, what I have is one terminal, you end up doing one task. You're really bottlenecked on that. So what do? You end up spinning up multiple Claude Code instances, and then you run into which Claude Code is that? Yeah, and you lose track, at least I lose track, right? So what I want to do is have a team of these agents, right, working in part of that. So I can give them different tasks. And one might be coding tasks, one might be documentation. I can basically get tasks to security reviews, things like that, right? So the idea is I can scale out my thought processes to individual agents and then be able to coalesce them into a Kanban board so I can see what's actually happening over time, right? So that's the beauty of it, right? So I've basically got a node server, right? Browser interface. I've got an orchestrator, kind of root agent that is helping this, and also built in a command line interface for this. So what does it look like? So here it is, right? So I've got here actually 4 windows open, and I have different workspaces. And so I've got the SquansQ workspace where I'm actually bootstrapping SquansQ. Now I've got another demo of financial dashboard. Cubic Pay is going to be a wallet. I've actually done demos on that before, but I'm going to reuse the domain name. And Moduloop is payment, open source payments. I'm going to end up deploying so that I can test out my wallet. And I've got a few more as well. But that's the goal here, is I can have different kind of workspaces, and within each workspace I can have different projects, right? So here's my root agent. I can start him up, and you can see as I flip between the workspaces, I get to see the different Claude Code windows. If we look at the finance dashboard, I've got a couple of agents now that I'm working with, and then as I spin them up, they can actually get launched down there. And then what I've also got is a Kanban board, right? So I've got some things that are open. I've got some things that landed. There will be stuff in progress. Even I can do PR and get information in there. And then what I've built is some predetermined agents. One is to do the design review, so I can actually dispatch that now, and it'll spin up an agent. You can see here it's actually working. So I still on idle, so I have to look into that. And so you can dispatch these agents and they'll actually do certain tasks. And so that's the nice thing about it is we've got predefined agents, and then I've got some metrics. I've got a bunch of events. You can actually see what's going on. And what I haven't done yet is cost, right? The cost isn't really working, and it's very hard to get the Claude Code costs directly from an API. What I found is I'm actually racking up a lot of costs because I've got all these agents going, and the build can get pretty large. And here's a console. I can spin up a console in a terminal, but also got this. And what I've done here is actually got a command line interface. So sometimes I want to directly interface with Claude Code, but sometimes I just want to do it through a command line interface. And here's basically some of the commands I've implemented. And so I can look at, for example, all of the agents. I can kill an agent, all of that. And I've got a root agent that helps me orchestrate all of this. So, that's the idea here is I have all of this, work that I can do. So it's a work in progress, but I wanted to go and show everybody this is. And so this is an example of, the windows that you can go and create. I can create the console here. If I want to use the command line, or I can just use Claude Code windows as well. And I can, with the console, I can spin out multiple tasks. And then I've got a root agent over here. And the beauty is this root agent, it can actually then go spin up a lot of these Claude Code windows or these worker agents. And then I can continually enhance this. So this is the goal. It's basically a multi-agent orchestration platform for development, integrating into Claude Code. As I go through this, I'll add in other systems such as Gemini, but it basically helps me keep track of all the work I have, and I can always go back for each workspace. I can go back to the Kanban board and see what I'm doing. And so I have an idea of what's actually working, not working. And so as I do context switch between all the projects, it helps me keep track in one place, right? So this avoids me having multiple windows open and worrying about that. And so you can see, for example, this is a finance dashboard. This is how it looks just now. And then I can actually start to enhance these capabilities over time. And so it's just pretty cool. Again, it's, a combination of like a gas town like system or an overclock type system. And it's just really helpful for my part-time development that I do after in the evening. And so there we go. Thanks everyone. Bye.